My friend Lee Scott, he is a former Conservative MP, used to work with Lee. He's a great guy and he's in Israel at the moment. What I've been doing on all my different shows over the past week or so is checking in on him. He's stuck there at the moment with his family who live there, grandkids there. Lee, how are things with you now and how have things developed?
Good evening, Peter. Today has been horrendous, my friend. It's just been totally horrendous. I'll give you a brief outline. We ventured out, as we had to, this morning and got caught in the attack, which was on both Beersheba, Tel Aviv. We had to shelter under a motorway bridge because we were in a car at the time.
And you're just outside Tel Aviv, aren't you?
Yeah, we're just outside Tel Aviv. I got thrown against the concrete wall and have injured my arm, but I'm okay. There was shrapnel falling all around us. The missiles were going off in the air. It's just been an absolutely horrendous day, and I'm going to send a message, if I can, through you, to our Foreign Secretary. Why is it that every other country is getting their residents out?
Yeah.
And we are recommending people go across the border to Egypt or Jordan? I don't know if our Foreign Secretary realises that Jewish people coming from Israel aren't that popular in Jordan or Egypt.
Yeah. Lee, I'm really concerned to hear about, let's get to that in a second, but I'm really concerned to hear about your injury. Are you sure you're okay? Have you had medical attention?
Yeah, I'm bandaged up, but it's just swollen. It's nothing. Maybe I may have chipped the bones, but I'm okay. I'll be fine. You know, there's people here in a lot worse situations than I am. We're all getting, I'm going to be honest with you, very, very edgy. You've known me a long while. I'm a pretty jovial person, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday I cried my eyes out.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Lee. And you've been in those shelters as well overnight. You must be exhausted.
We are exhausted. We haven't had a proper night's sleep in 7 days. I say again, this isn't about berating people. This is about the fact that we're all human beings. And this just is no way to live. It's got to stop. President Trump hopefully will make his mind up one way or another what he's going to do and do it. But for the people on the ground here, it's horrendous now.
And tell me, we were talking about the Foreign Office, about the fact that so many other nations, Germany and others, have extracted people. We can see, if you're watching on the screen, a picture of Lee there. He's standing up in the sort of pinky purple top with a lot of his family around him in the shelters there underneath the ground in Israel. This was a few days ago. And Lee, the Foreign Office, have you been in touch with them? What are they actually telling you?
They're recommending that there's land borders open to Egypt and Jordan, which you can cross through. Now, I don't know what's true and what's not true, but I've had some pretty horror stories from people who tried to do that. I'm not saying what is correct or what isn't, but that isn't something that I will be doing. We have ships, we have bases just across in Cyprus. Send the ships across and get us.
Yeah.
You know, I obviously, as you can gather, am very, very down, for want of a better word, at the moment. Yeah. And I don't know what the reasons are. I genuinely don't understand what David Lammy is waiting for, or what we're waiting for. I want to pay tribute to some of his colleagues. Wes Streeting has been very helpful. He was the person, as you know, who took my parliamentary seat.
Yeah, you were the MP in that constituency, and Wes Streeting has actually been helping you.
Yeah, we've been in regular contact with Wes. I've been in contact with Priti Patel, Kemi Badnoch, who have both been amazing help, and Neil Hudson. They're all trying and saying, get people out. It's not about me as an individual.
Well, let me tell you what the Foreign Office has told us and get your reaction to it, Lee. The safety and security of British nationals is our top priority. The Foreign Office is working around the clock to respond to the crisis and support British nationals affected. We recognise this as a fast-moving situation that has the potential to deteriorate further quickly and without warning. That is why we are encouraging British nationals to register their presence and pay close attention to travel advice.
Yeah, we've registered our presence. I haven't heard a word from them. Had some texts and emails telling me next to nothing, but that's it. We've registered our presence straight away and told them we're here and we want to get back home. But we haven't heard a word.
Lee, just hold that thought. We've got to go to Caroline Levitt now in the White House. Let's hear what she has to say about Iran.
The president has repeated that in his first term as president and his second term as president as well. That's why he was adamantly opposed to the disastrous Iranian nuclear agreement that was implemented by President Obama. And it's why he has given great latitude and given a lot of effort to achieving a diplomatic solution. But he's been very clear. Iran went for 60 days when he gave them that 60-day warning without coming to the table. On day 61, Israel took action against Iran. And as I just told you from the president directly, he will make a decision within 2 weeks.
A follow-up?
Sure. Go ahead, Natalie.
Thanks, Caroline. Can you confirm whether Steve Witkoff has been in touch with the Iranian foreign minister? And does Witkoff plan to go to Geneva tomorrow for talks?
I am not tracking that on Mr. Witkoff's travel schedule, but I can certainly check in with him to be sure. As for correspondence between the United States and the Iranians, I can confirm that correspondence has continued. As you know, we were engaged with 6 rounds of negotiations with them in both indirect and direct ways.
Thanks, Kelly. Just to clarify the president's statement just now, when he says that he'll make a decision in the next 2 weeks, is he saying that if Iran does not come back to the negotiating table within the next 2 weeks, that the president will strike?
The president is saying that he will make a decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks. It's very clear and direct.
And is he seeing any signs of progress? He obviously is holding out hope for negotiations, but is he seeing any inklings of progress that give him that hope that talks are still possible?
Well, that's why he said in the statement that I just read for all of you, based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, he will make that decision within the next 2 weeks.
What makes him think there's still a substantial chance, is my question.
I'm not going to get into the reasoning and the rationale the president believes that, but that's his position, and he will make a decision within the next 2 weeks.
Caroline.
Sure.
Thanks, Caroline. President Trump has said previously in regard to Russia, he's used this phrase about 2 weeks several times in terms of like, we expect like a 2-week deadline and then you give another 2-week deadline. How can we be sure that he's going to stick to this one on making a decision on Iran?
Well, in those deadlines, as you've seen in respect to Russia, Ukraine, might I add, these are 2 very different, complicated global conflicts, as you know, that the president inherited from our previous incompetent president in the weakness of the previous administration. And the president has spent a tremendous amount of time and effort cleaning up these crises that were caused by the last administration's just complete dereliction of duty on the world stage and American weakness. Now we have American strength again. With respect to Russia and Ukraine, because of that American strength and the president's leadership, we have seen these 2 sides engage in direct negotiations. And the last time the president said 2 weeks, you saw Russia and Ukraine have direct negotiations for the first time in years. And so the president is always interested in a diplomatic solution to the problems and the global conflicts in this world. Again, he is a peacemaker in chief. He is the peace through strength president. And so if there's a chance for diplomacy, the president's always going to grab it. But he's not afraid to use strength as well, I will add. Francesca.
Thanks, Caroline. What exactly would a deal with Iran need to entail?
No enrichment of a uranium, and it would absolutely not, Iran is not absolutely not able to achieve a nuclear weapon. The president has been very clear about that. And by the way, the deal that Special Envoy Witkoff proposed to the Iranians was both realistic and acceptable within its terms. And that's why the president is sent that deal to them.
To follow up on what you told Natalie, are the talks that the United States is currently having with Iran direct, or are those through intermediaries? And if so, which countries are acting as the intermediary right now?
Out of respect for the ongoing discussions and negotiations, I am not going to get into the details of them. We've provided you confirmation for now. Go ahead. Sure, and then behind you too.
Thanks. Sorry. On the topic of negotiations and talks, does the president have any hopes or specific expectations for the talks tomorrow between European foreign secretaries and their Iranian counterpart?
Well, certainly the entire world is on the president's side when it comes to the fact that Iran cannot obtain a nuclear weapon. This is something that pretty much all of humanity, except for the Iranian terrorist regime themselves, agree upon. And so the president expects that Europe will deliver that message directly to the Iranians.
Why does President Trump believe that this 90-day extension on TikTok will provide more runway, perhaps, than the previous extensions that haven't led to a divestment deal?
Because it's more time to make a good deal. Simple question. Dasha?
Thank you so much. I know things are going day by day right now. The president wants maximum optionality. Is the possibility of the U.S. getting involved in regime change in Iran at all on the table at this point?
The president's Sure. The president's top priority right now is ensuring that Iran cannot obtain a nuclear weapon and providing peace and stability in the Middle East.
And on Medicaid, Caroline,
Sure.
the Senate put forward Medicaid provisions.
We're just going to leave it there. Caroline Leavitt there, the White House press secretary, being asked about Iran. She seems to be asked questions by the White House press corps now about health matters as well. So we're going to leave it there. Certainly that is very interesting to hear that Donald Trump, the President of the United States, due to make a decision within 2 weeks, essentially a deadline in regard to Iran. He knows, and we were hearing from Caroline Leavitt there about Iran's nuclear capabilities, or indeed lack of. It'll be fascinating to see what happens, but we're in this sort of holding pattern, really, in regard to all of that. We previously heard from Lee Scott. We're actually going to check in again with Lee Scott tomorrow, and Zach from earlier, who we spoke to, the local councillor who is stranded in Israel. What on earth is the government up to here? So we've got loads of different nations that are collecting people, that are sending these flights, these repatriation flights, that are sending cruise ships and other ways to get their nationals out of Israel. It's clearly a very, very dangerous place at the moment for foreign nationals who've been there at various points. For things, I mean, Lee has been over for his grandson's bar mitzvah, for example. Zach was over for a wedding. Perfectly legitimate reasons to go to see family and so on in Israel. Why is the government not dealing with this? Surely that's the point of the Foreign Office.